Hi and welcome to Let's Talk Health. Today I am Chinomso Amadi. Today on the program we'll take a look at tuberculosis. Tuberculosis has remained a major public health concern in Nigeria as the country is leading in a number of countries with tuberculosis in Africa. That for us at the program today is enough cause for worry. So today we shall look at issues surrounding this health problem and how best they can be tackled. First, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Now let's take a look at this to see how tuberculosis infects the body to stay.
An estimated 1/3 of the world's population is infected with tuberculosis. 1/3. And here's the culprit, the minuscule bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. But does that mean 2.3 billion people are sick? Fortunately not. Only a small proportion of them actually become sick. To understand why, let's take a closer look at the bacterium itself. When someone with TB coughs, they expel little drops of saliva that fly into the air. Some of them may contain the TB mycobacteria, which can then be inhaled by someone close by. The mycobacteria then continue their journey down the respiratory tract and into the lungs. That person is then infected with TB. And this is where it all becomes a little more complicated. The body detects the invasion and sends out its first line of defense. This includes special cells called macrophages, which engulf the mycobacteria and transport them to the lymph nodes, where they are neutralized. If they're neutralized, the person will have what is called latent tuberculosis. This means they're infected with the bacterium, but they don't have active TB disease, and they're not sick. However, in 5% of cases, the immune system is overwhelmed. The TB mycobacteria multiply and escape, and the person falls ill. This often happens with young children, whose immune systems are not fully developed. In other cases, latent TB can wake up and become active TB. This can happen months later, or even years later, especially in adults with weak immune systems. For example, people who are HIV positive, or who've had organ transplants, or who are undergoing chemotherapy. Once in the lungs, the bacteria may spread via the bloodstream or the lymphatic system to other parts of the body, to the lymph nodes, bones and joints, the digestive system, the central nervous system, the liver, or the heart. So what happens when someone has active TB? Let's imagine the infection's in the lungs, as this is the most commonplace. The patient starts coughing, has difficulty breathing, and suffers from chest pains. If these symptoms last for more than a few weeks, and are accompanied by fever, night sweats, and weight loss, the doctor has good reason to suspect tuberculosis. The next stage is diagnosis, and then treatment. The battle is far from over.
Alright, for more information and facts on this health problem, let's join Dr. Uwem Udoh on the interview segment. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the interview segment of Let's Talk Health. The program is Let's Talk Health if you're just joining us, and today we're talking tuberculosis. And I have with me in the house today Dr. Uwem Udoh. He is a public health practitioner, and together we'll be discussing tuberculosis. Thank you for joining us today in the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now we know that in Nigeria, tuberculosis continues to be a major health challenge, and as it is now, Nigeria ranks 4th among countries with the highest burden of tuberculosis. Now, first of all, I want you to let us in on how tuberculosis can be contacted. What are those signs that one is meant to look out for in a patient?
Okay. Well, tuberculosis basically is a bacterial infection caused by a bacteria called Mycobacter tuberculosis, and people contact the infection basically through the air. It's an airborne infection, and it's by droplets. Though occasionally you can have the bovine part type, which you get by eating cow meat and unpasteurized.
Cow meat. I've never heard about that before.
Pasteurized milk.
Okay.
But basically, the most common one, which is the one that affects the lungs, is gotten through the air.
Okay.
Through inhaling droplet of this bacteria.
Okay.
And the sign we basically look out for is, the major sign is cough. Okay, which is the patient comes and complains about cough, and this is normally a long-standing cough. It's any cough that lasts more than 2 weeks, you should look should look into it. Any cough that lasts more than 2 weeks, you should go into the hospital. So in every
case, any cough that lasts more than 2 weeks?
Any cough that lasts more than 2 weeks is a suspected case of TB. So you should go to the hospital and get examined. There are different tests that can be done. Apart from the cough, you have night sweating is a common thing. You sweat a lot at night, and you start losing weight. You know, that's if it's getting much longer, you start losing weight. But we are advised that once you have a cough that has lasted for more than 2 weeks, you've been taking antibiotics and other things, you're not getting any relief, you should go to the hospital and run the right tests to be sure that it's not tuberculosis.
Okay, now you just mentioned that once it's more than 2 weeks. So talking about the ordinary cough now, it's just the time duration that's the difference between the ordinary cough and tuberculosis.
Yeah, basically, you know, because other coughs, once you're having a cough, and you start taking antibiotics, within 2-3 days you should start having a relief if it's just an ordinary cough. But once it gets to 2 weeks and you're not having any relief, instead it's getting worse, and you start noticing that you're beginning to lose weight, it tells you that there's something more.
Something's wrong, yeah.
Yes, so you shouldn't just wait and you've been coughing for 2 weeks, you still wait. No, just go to the hospital and get tested.
Okay, now are there a particular group of people who are prone to tuberculosis, who are more susceptible to it? Yeah,
tuberculosis is, everybody's prone to tuberculosis, but those that are more susceptible to it are people suffering with HIV, basically. Because now, you know, about 50% of people that have HIV are very prone to having TB because of their immune status.
Okay.
Apart from that, it's just an everyday thing.
Okay, now let's look at the treatment procedure. You found out that, okay, you have a cough that is taking a longer time to go, you've gone to the hospital. Now, what next?
Yeah, once it's diagnosed that it is tuberculosis, the good thing about tuberculosis is that it's curable.
Okay.
So the duration of treatment might take a bit of time, because
how long are we talking about here?
About 6 months.
Wow.
6 month duration. But
that's long.
Yeah, so it has the first month where you have some injections and other tablets, and then continue for 6 months. And then what is being done in the country now is the direct observed treatment short course. You know, you go to the facility close to you, and they monitor you, take the drugs on a daily basis. That way you don't miss your drugs, and then the chance of having resistance is not there.
Okay. Now, some estimates from a study show that more than 500 people infected with TB in Nigeria, they remain undetected, and thereby no treatment has been given to them. So what would they attribute to to this problem? Is it that the individuals, people are not aware, or is the state of our health system in the country?
I assume you mean 500,000 individuals suffering. Well, it's the awareness is getting to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. There's a lot of awareness now, because in every program, every project that has to do with HIV, they talk about TB. There's TB on the TV, TB on the radio. The awareness is getting there. Okay. But the problem we're having in Nigeria is just not it's encompassing. The individuals, first of all, most Nigerians are used to the fact that they have an ailment. Instead of going to the hospital first, they rather go to a chemist.
Yeah, self-medication.
Start their self-medication, and then until when they haven't realized that, look, we're not getting better for now, go to hospital. Secondly, the economic situation is so poor that people are so afraid of going to hospital because they feel, I can't afford to go and pay for the hospital bill, so they rather stay at home. So there are some people that in the rural areas, they rather start medication with the local herbs and local treatments to know that once they've gone through that and then there's no cure, they now start coming to the hospital. So those are all part of the factors that contribute to not detecting all these things. And then also in some of our facilities, I mean, most of the primary health care facilities in the country don't have doctors. They have healthcare professionals, which though now everybody's aware of the basic thing. You should ask the basic questions of the duration of the cough and then the examination. Is you losing weight to be able to detect this. But some of the facilities, you still don't have people that can detect it early enough. So these are all part of the things that contribute to not detecting a lot of the cases.
Now let's look at children. Now, in cases whereby TB happens to kids, is it still the same duration of treatment with a normal adult? Yeah,
it's the same duration of treatment. The only difference is that it's based on the dosage. For a child has his own basic dosage. You treat the child based on his weight, but still the same duration, because when you can't take chances of a short term. Because the shorter it is, the higher the chance of developing resistance.
Now I want you to talk to my viewers. What are those things? You mentioned something earlier. You said consumption of the cow,
unpasteurized cow milk.
So I want you to just educate my viewers now, like those things that you're supposed to look out for, so that they would know that this can lead to this and this can lead to this.
But the most important thing now is what we should look out for is staying in a crowded environment. If you're living in a crowded compound, you know that staying in the crowded compound and then there's somebody coughing there, the chances are this is an airborne infection, so it's very easy for you to contact it. So whenever you are staying, when anybody around is coughing, advise person to go to hospital immediately, because if not, the chances are he might be having tuberculosis, and the more he coughs out and it's not being treated, the people living around it will contact it. But once he starts treatment, even if he's coughing, the chances are he's no more in the infective state, so he will not be infected. And then for the milk, it's mainly for those that drink unpasteurized milk. You just get cow milk from the cow and they don't bother to pasteurize it and just drink it like that. If that cow happens to have tuberculosis, it's possible that it just transmits to you as well. So that will result not likely in pulmonary tuberculosis, but tuberculosis on the other part of the body.
Well, tuberculosis on the other part of, can you just explain a bit of that?
Well, there are two basic types of tuberculosis: the pulmonary tuberculosis and the other tuberculosis that can be found in other parts of the body.
Any other part of the body?
Basically in the abdomen, and that will be as a result of this injection of the cow milk I'm talking about. And then there are cases that will have a condition called spot disease, whereby the tuberculous bacteria is lodged in the spine, and that can result in manifestation of any of the spinal effect, depending on how damaging it has done. Can lead to paralysis, or it can just develop severe spinal pain. Those are part of the things that can result from tuberculosis.
Now, earlier we talked about Nigeria being the fourth. Nigeria being ranked as the fourth country among countries, with the burden of the disease. Now, in your opinion, how best do you think Nigeria can tackle this problem of, tuberculosis spread in the country?
Well, right now Nigeria is really trying, because Nigeria is going a long way. I mean, like I said earlier on, the awareness is getting to everywhere. There's basically no training now that you go through.
So if you say the awareness is getting to everywhere, why do we still have recurring cases? Why are we still ranking fourth?
That's what I was saying, because people just look at it. Somebody's coughing for 2 weeks, he tries to go and get his drugs from chemist first, and before going to the hospital to come and see that he has TB, and now he gets to the hospital, and because of the duration of the treatment, 6 months, Somebody takes drugs for 3 months, he feels better, because when you start taking the drug and start feeling better, you feel like, why am I taking this drug? I'm feeling better. So you stop taking it, and that leads to resistance. By the time it leads to resistance, it becomes more difficult to treat. And then the other people just believe, look, there are a lot of Nigerians that still believe in herbal drugs. No, let me take my herbal drug first before I go and go to the hospital. So that is part of the thing that we are still fighting against. But then the more we keep talking about it, the more we're encouraging people, I'm sure we'll be able to fight it.
So you've not talked about it on the part of healthcare providers.
Yeah, well, the healthcare providers, like I told you, most of the facilities that are in the rural areas don't have enough personnel to go through this, and not all of them have been trained on this TB. Some just believe that, okay, the person is coughing, let's give him antibiotics or any cough expectorant, and then after 2 weeks, rather than advise you to go to the bigger hospital, he wants to give you a higher class of antibiotics, thinking that, okay, maybe the first class he gave was not good enough. So that way it keeps delaying and causing more infection. Then others is the fact that even at some of our facilities, you get there, sometimes the person, what are the investigations? We ask for a sputum, the person coughs out the sputum. They can cough out the sputum and you run a test and it's negative in the sputum. But it does not mean that the person does not have TB. Okay. There are other tests called Mantoux tests, which is just on the skin to see the Mantoux reaction, which some people will not have the reaction. And then some people that cannot afford to do the X-ray. When I ask them to go and do X-ray, they can't afford to do the X-ray, they run away. Those are some of the things. Some of the hospitals we have don't even have X-ray machines. So those are all part of the things that can deter the early detection of this infection, thereby just increasing the body. Because, for instance, it is a very, very easily spread infection. If a father has tuberculosis in the house with 3 or 4 children, people, and they are sleeping in the same room, he coughs and spreads to all his children. So that's just our challenge.
So in a nutshell now, you've explained to us, you enlightened us a bit about tuberculosis in Nigeria. So I just want you to, a last advice for our viewers today. Before we
the last advice I would say for anybody that is coughing, please don't just sit at home or just walk to the chemist and go and get drugs. When you're coughing, just go to the hospital and see what is wrong with you. The earlier you detect what is wrong with you, the better you can be cured, and the faster you get cured. But the longer you stay, the worse it becomes, and the chances of you spreading it to your loved one that are around you is higher. So please, whenever you're not well, don't look at how much you're going to spend in the chemist or the hospital. Just go to hospital. The best place for you to always be is the hospital. Get diagnosed and be treated for the right thing.
All right, thank you very, very much, Dr. Uwem, for coming on the program today, for enlightening us. Let's hope that our viewers, people would get to listen, and let's hope that something is being done to, stop the prevalence of tuberculosis in Nigeria very soon. Well, the program is Let's Talk Health, and we're talking tuberculosis today, and the program continues just right after now. To stay with us. Well, you heard it all. If you have a persistent cough, do not hesitate to see your doctor immediately. Thanks for watching today. Don't forget to hit us on our social media platforms. Tweet us on @TalkHealthPTV. Send us Facebook messages on www.facebook.com/Let's Talk Health, or send us a message on Gmail at letstalkhealthptv@gmail.com. Till I see you next week, to stay healthy and stay alive.